Nobody can manipulate you if you finally learn this one thing. Most people think manipulation starts with toxic people, but it doesn't. It starts the moment you stop trusting yourself. And maybe that's exactly where your life started changing, because somewhere along the way, you became easier to control. Not physically, mentally, emotionally, silently. People's opinions started controlling your mood. Their validation started controlling your confidence. Their attention started controlling your self-worth. And now, you overthink every text. You replay every conversation. You apologize for things that weren't even your fault. You say yes when your mind is screaming no. And the worst part? You don't even realize it's happening. That's how manipulation works. It doesn't look like chains. It feels like confusion, like guilt, like emotional pressure, like constantly questioning yourself. And if you've been feeling mentally exhausted lately, this might be the real reason why. Because manipulation drains your energy before it destroys your life. Carl Jung once believed that the greatest battle a person fights is the battle to become aware of themselves. Because unaware people are easy to control, easy to distract, easy to pressure, easy to emotionally trap. Think about modern life for a second. People are addicted to approval. They change their personality to fit in. They hide their opinions to avoid rejection. They stay in toxic relationships because they're scared of being alone. And slowly, they lose themselves. Maybe you've felt this too. You walk into a room and suddenly act different. You constantly wonder what people think about you. You compare your life to strangers online, then feel like you're failing. And every single day, your mind becomes weaker without you noticing. Not because you're incapable, but because you've disconnected from yourself. Here's the scary truth nobody talks about. Manipulative people can sense insecurity. They notice when you crave validation. They notice when you fear confrontation. They notice when you don't respect your own boundaries. And once they see that, they push further, little by little. Not always through aggression, but through subtle emotional control, guilt, silence, mixed signals, fake kindness, sudden distance. And if your emotions control your decisions, you become predictable. That's why emotionally reactive people suffer the most. Because every reaction gives other people power over them. But there's one thing manipulative people absolutely hate: self-awareness. The moment you become deeply aware of your emotions, their control starts collapsing. Because now, you pause before reacting. You observe before speaking. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop chasing approval. And suddenly, people can no longer play with your mind. Think about the strongest person you've ever met. Not the loudest, not the richest, the strongest. Usually, they're calm, grounded, hard to emotionally shake. Why? Because they know who they are. And when you know who you are, people lose the ability to define you. That's real power, not controlling others, controlling yourself. But let's be honest, most people never develop this power. Because self-awareness is uncomfortable. It forces you to confront things you've been avoiding for years. Your addictions, your excuses, your fear of rejection, your need to be liked, your lack of discipline. And that's why most people stay stuck. Because distraction feels easier than honesty. Scrolling feels easier than thinking. Comfort feels easier than growth. Avoidance feels easier than change. But easy choices create weak minds. And weak minds get manipulated by everything. Social media, opinions, relationships, fear, comfort, temporary emotions. Look at your own life honestly. How many decisions have you made just to avoid disappointing people? How many times did you stay silent when you wanted to speak? How many dreams did you delay because you were scared of judgment? That's not freedom. That's invisible slavery. And millions of people are living like this every single day. Smiling outside, but mentally controlled inside. There's a reason disciplined people become harder to manipulate. Because discipline builds self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, your mind becomes stronger. You stop depending on motivation. You stop depending on external validation. You stop needing people to constantly reassure you. And suddenly, you become emotionally dangerous. Not toxic, not cold, just unshakable. Imagine waking up without needing approval from anyone. Imagine speaking without fear. Imagine being alone without feeling lonely. Imagine trusting your own decisions again. That version of you already exists. But right now, it's buried under years of fear, distraction, and emotional dependency. And the only way to uncover it is to start becoming conscious. Conscious of your habits, conscious of your emotions, conscious of the people around you, conscious of what drains your energy, because awareness changes everything. The moment you become aware, you stop reacting automatically. You stop letting emotions control your future, and that's the moment your life begins changing. Carl Jung believed that people avoid themselves their entire lives. They distract themselves, numb themselves, entertain themselves, anything to avoid silence, because silence reveals truth, and truth is uncomfortable. But if you can sit alone, without distraction, without noise, without pretending, you'll start seeing who you really are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns, your potential. And once you truly see yourself, nobody can manipulate you the same way again. Because now, you finally understand your own mind. Listen carefully. Your biggest enemy is not toxic people. It's unconscious living. It's drifting through life emotionally asleep. Because when you don't control your mind, someone else will. Society will. Algorithms will. Other people's opinions will. Temporary emotions will. So stop giving people access to your peace. Stop explaining your worth to people who already misunderstood you. Stop betraying yourself just to keep others comfortable. And most importantly, stop abandoning yourself. Because the moment you fully respect yourself, the world starts treating you differently. Not instantly, but gradually. Your energy changes. Your standards change. Your confidence changes. And suddenly, you're no longer easy to manipulate. One day you'll realize something powerful. The people who controlled you the most only had power because you were disconnected from yourself. But now, you're becoming aware. You're becoming disciplined. You're becoming emotionally stronger. And that changes everything. So the next time someone tries to control your emotions, pause, breathe, observe. And remember this, a person who understands their own mind becomes impossible to control.